Hello and welcome to BCC Virtual Racing. Tonight's race, the Duchy Estate, 19.7 kilometres and 10 seconds before the start with Cat B. And the riders are off. Just try and grab someone in the field. A large field tonight, 33 riders from BCC, about 150 overall, I think I last saw. The race is expected to be fast and furious, 6 laps at 3 kilometres each. Each lap has about 41 metres of climbing, so 273 metres in total. Riding through Harrogate, this is part of the UCI World Cup course. And tonight we have the large field in Cat B, of course, 16 riders, some 9 riders in Cat C. Nice to see lots of representation there. And I have just spotted some new riders, or returning riders. We have Barr in Category C, which is an unusual place to find them, but that's where he is. But he's competing unusually with Cullen, who has moved up from Cat D, was disqualified in the second race for being over par, and now finds himself in Cat C. And Miles Johnson's made a return, and he's dropped down to Cat C as well. So Cat C, I think, could be an interesting race, but all riders starting together. No staggered start tonight. Let's have a look. And there is Charles, actually. We'll just stop on Charles for a moment. In, I think, his 11th race on Monday evening, he managed to win overall for BCC, having moved up to Cat A for the first time. And in fact, if I recall correctly, came third overall in the entire race. So excellent performance for him. He'll be hoping to repeat that. He's up against Danes from Switzerland, Lisa and Stoneham. A little bit tougher competition perhaps, but I'm not sure if Tom's racing tonight. I haven't seen him so far, and there is Stoneham and Gaines in fact on screen now at 1.4 kilometres into the race. And it looks as if the A's are beginning to lead the front of the field, but no, in fact there is Lancia and Davis up the front. So the fast B's likely to be Lancia, Davis, Campbell, who else? Those 3 in particular. If I've forgotten anyone, Blacken maybe as well. Creek. Ensign quite capable of finishing up front of this field as well. Kalik not so. I think he'll be Group 2. But this short, sharp racing may suit him. The course is a little bit lumpy. The hills aren't particularly long, but enough to make a difference. Well, this is, in fact, Kalik's right up the very front of the field. 237 riders, in fact, Zwift is reporting in this field. So it's going to be difficult to keep a track of everyone, but I will do the best that I can. The riders will be entering second lap soon. And let's just move back through the field, see who else we can spot. It might be the only opportunity I get to actually click on any of the other riders. Charles and Ensign in the middle of that bunch. Just trying to move back through the field now. It's difficult. And Langen, and already on this hill, which is 6-7%, you just see the main group up the front has begun to split, and it is stretching out. O'Brien in that group as well. Civita doesn't look as if he's on a training ride today, not at 303 watts, so he could be a contender for certainly Group 2 of the Bs. Shannon will be Group 3. as a guess, and already quite a large gap has formed between groups 2 and 3. With him, though, Littlewood. It's a good performance from Littlewood. He's getting stronger all the time. Let's see, at 3.3 watts per kilo, performing rather nicely. Tough, I just saw there he is. Saw a big rider falling back through the field. But key in this race is to stick with a group. I saw Johnson in there as well. And Reed, in fact, has appeared. Didn't see him on the entry list. Another new rider to Zwift. This may be his second or third race, can't quite remember. To Reed. Trying to get back to these riders again. There's Reed. I saw, just trying to get back to Johnson. There's Ketley. But Ketley's with Littlewood. This just reflects the nature of this type of race. Really hard at the start. Groups begin to split up. It becomes impossible to try and bridge the gap at the speed that they're going. Not impossible, but just difficult. Moving back through the field now is Duchy. Looks as if he's not quite on his normal form. Along with Nixon is with him as well in this group. I suspect it's perhaps the hair causing too much air resistance there. Could do with the helmet on. And there is Nixon just behind Duchy by a second. Stoneham, Marcus. I would expect him to be much further ahead, but again, this comes down to the breaks in these groups. Once the groups have started, or once the mass has started forming to small groups, it's very difficult to move between them. Will take a brave rider and a strong move to do so. There's Hansen, May, and I just saw Oliver White somewhat. There he is. And there's Cullen. I was looking for Cullen. So he, at the moment, this is his first race Cat C, so he'll be finding the pace quite hard, but he's holding 2.4, 2.5 watts per kilo, so he is in the right category. But sneaking up behind him are Jones and Morton. In fact, both Joneses. So Rob Jones, 2 seconds behind. See if you can see him. In fact, that is just behind him, Rob Jones and Peter Jones as well as Dave Morton. Now, Cullen is isolated by himself. Not a great place to be in a race of this nature. But he's got to make a choice. Stay in that Cat C group ahead of him or drop back a little bit further. And while they make that decision, that was the finish line I think I just saw there. It might have been the sprint line. Move back up towards the front of the field, see what's happening. See he's beginning to push forward. So Duchy at 5.7 kilometres on his second lap, some 9 seconds ahead of Stoneham. There is Stoneham. Can they see each other? Not quite at this stage. Moving further forward in the field now. Nixon still with Duchy. Reed further 8 seconds ahead. Looks as if he's becoming a little bit isolated as well. And there is the chasing group behind him. I think these riders will merge now. And Reed could make a good choice and go back to meet them. But at 415 watts just there, he's certainly trying very hard. But make that decision now. Don't sit in the middle. And about 10 seconds, I think, further ahead, we have Littlewood riding well in a nice large group. Good position to be in at 6.6 kilometres. Ketley in there as well. Not seen these two ride next to each other before, or certainly not for a long time. Ketley and before, and Civitos in this group. See if we can find anyone else. O'Brien, is he in the same group? Let's check. No, he is, in fact, O'Brien and Langan. There's Langan. They are about 10-15 seconds ahead of the chasing group, and ahead of them, let's see if we can track them down. Lance here. So this is up towards the front of the race now. So Lance here, just there on screen now, 328 watts, so over FTP for him. Campbell at a more, well, 2.8 watts per kilo at the moment, but he's going downhill, of course. Blackham, Empson, Khalid holding on to the pace of the faster riders. Davis in there as well. So Davis, Khalid, Empson, Blackham, Campbell, all together. And are they still with the A's? Yes, they are. So Stoneham and Charles. James, Lisa, I haven't seen. Has had some technical issues recently. And is supposed to be in this race at the moment. So these riders, this is the front of the race. These riders are on their, let's have a look, third lap now, I think, at 11 minutes. Just started the third lap, 11 minutes in. Charles is still riding very strongly up front. Undoubtedly be feeling emboldened from his last performance on Monday night. So if he can capitalise on that, to stay off the front. There goes Blackham. One or two riders behind, but at a distance. Empson riding well. 280 watts, heartbeat up at 168. And a great aerial shot there of the men group with about 25-30 riders. I haven't had a look at Davis yet. Well, just jumped from 185 to 420 watts. So 5.5 watts per kilo. That's over his customary 3.99, but he'll be calculating that average from beginning to end. He's an expert at that. And there are some good little downhill sections on this course as well. So I think there are a couple just to take advantage of a very short super tug. Not too long, but it might be just enough to gain a little bit of recovery. Stoneham there on 6.8 watts per kilo. Has that caused a split in the group? Let's have a look behind. Certainly riders have strung out a little bit. Charles is hanging on there with him. Davis as well. And I expect the other main chasing B riders, see if we can get some idea. Yes, Blackham, Khalid. It is a surprise to see him up here, at least certainly based on his previous few races. Can he hold on? We shall be watching very closely and find out. In 10.4 kilometres, or 10, sorry, have completed 10.4 kilometres, so only about 9 left. This race is almost over before it starts, in a way. Certainly over very quickly. Campbell looks as if he has dropped off. So he has not been able to hold on to the pace. That is a bit of a surprise. That is a surprise that Empson and Kalik are ahead of him, but he's with Lance here, the two big riders in the field. And it could just be the nature of the course, the hills. Both are not keen on hills, but for the short ones, they tend to do quite well. But some of these are just long enough, I think, and steep enough to make a difference for them. So they will try and stay with each other. Not deliberately, perhaps, but in fact, already something's happening here. looks as if Lancia is pulling away 2 seconds ahead now. That is Lancia in the distance, so is Campbell suffering at 2.5 watts per kilo. Lancia is on 2.2, so power output's about the same. Campbell's pushing up 3.6, trying to gain some ground. And in fact, they have both come together, so just a temporary split in the field. So that was Group 2, I think. This will be Group 3. O'Brien, Langen at 10.7 kilometres and 15 minutes into the race. Small group, good size of group. Can be quite effective, as long as they don't all hang around trying to decide who's going to make a bit of an effort. Civita, as I saw, has got further back in the field, as far as I can tell. Yes, it looks like there's a much larger group of CB riders catching up now. Ketley's in there as well. Shannon as well, I think I saw. See who else is in this group. That's not in this group, but I just saw Richard Lay there. I haven't seen him on the course tonight at 8.1 kilometres. Riders will be lapped on this race, so hence the reason it's quite difficult sometimes to click on them to find exactly where they are in the field, but distances don't lie. There is Dury at 11.1. Nixon at 11, so what's that, 5 seconds behind Dury by the looks of it. Stoneham Senior Marcus at 11.1 as well. I just saw Reed. Reed is by himself, so he has not made that decision whether to drop back or move forward. Either way, you need to change it. And just 2 seconds behind him is Tamsin, sitting in this group. You'll hope to stay there as long as you can. Moving back further in the field, May at 10.9. White at 10.8 kilometres, 230 watts. Another rider that often becomes isolated. And then we'll move right up to the front of the field now, just so that I don't miss them. 13.9 kilometres, 14 kilometres. Still have Danes up front. Is Charles here as well? I imagine so. Let's see if I can find him. So the race for the front from BCC is Stoneham, Danes, not BCC, but ex-BCC, and Charles, all in there. Khalid now is 16 seconds further back with Davis, Empson and Blackham. He's still riding well. I think he may well hold on to this, so it could come down to a sprint for these guys. Of course, I think it could suit Empson. He's a good climber, has plenty of power. If I get some of the other riders a little bit further back. There's Cullen. Riders are now lapping each other, so it's, as I said before, they are difficult to track. So Cullen at 11.1 has pulled ahead of Peter Jones, Anne Morton and Rob Jones, I'm assuming. There's Morton at 11.1. So he's now 8 seconds ahead of them. Peter Jones, haven't seen Rob Jones maybe a little bit further back. And now we loop back through the field again. Lancia and Campbell still together at 14.1 kilometres. Lee Kempson and Davis Blackham in this group. Since the last aerial shot of these riders, the group has thinned a little. As is evident on the top right of the screen now, it's possible to see the riders stretched out along the course, and they will catch up shortly with some of the Category C riders. White is just 20 seconds ahead. Now, trying to have a look at the front of the race, if I can get there before this could be it. So Charles, Stoneham, James still together, 16.3. I might just stay with these riders now towards the end, until the end I should say. My fear is I click somewhere else and I'll lose the front of the race. And then I'll see if I can, in fact, we're just overtaking May, and I'll see if I can move back and capture the Group B riders of Davis, Kelly, Kempson and Blackham. And then behind them it will be Lancia and Campbell, if I remember correctly. So I've already clicked on someone and lost the front of the race accidentally. There we are, 16.8 kilometres, 3k to go. We'll have a quick look further back just to see who I can spot. I think this could be an interesting competition towards the end. I'm keen to see how these riders perform against each other. Blackham's been getting stronger and stronger over recent weeks. Was previously a Cat A rider, moved back to the Bs. Had a readjustment of his watt bike, which seems to have lost him a little bit of power, but not much, I expect. There he is, 420 watts. And here, that is the finish line. 3 kilometres left to go. I think I've just checked. 3 kilometres left to go. So if any rider fancies themselves to get on the front, or at least on the front of their group, this is the point to do it. There will be no time later on, and it will come down to a bunch sprint. And bunch sprint wise, difficult to call this one. Blackham has got a very strong sprint. Haven't seen Khalik sprint for quite some time. Davis can be quite useful as well. And Henson, they all can in fact, but if I had to bet on someone right now, I think I would bet on Blackham. If he can hold on and stay with the group to the end, no reason why he can't, but let's see what happens. And here is Campbell. Where is Lancia? Is he behind? Can't see him at the moment. No sign of Lancia. No. This is difficult to tell whether he is in fact ahead or behind. In fact, he is behind. If I'm understanding and reading that correctly, he looks to have gone pop at 181 watts. He 159 on the heartbeat though, so the heartbeat's still up there, but he's not pushing out any great power, so it looks as if he's taking a drink now. Looks as if he may just be going for the finish, get a point for his team. But he's now about 30 seconds behind Campbell, so Campbell is pulling away. There's Cullen at 14.3. About a lap behind these riders now, which is normal at this stage in the race. So let me move back up to the front, just conscious that it won't be long. It looks as if Stoneham's dropped off. That's the second time I've seen that happen at 18.6 kilometres. Where is the front of the race? Have I missed it already? Quick scroll through this. 19.2. There is someone ahead. Where is Charles? I think I might have missed it, sorry. Games 19.7. Looks as if Charles has finished. I won't be able to click on any rider in the front now. So it could have been a win for Charles. Looks like Games might be second. And that's Games through the finish line now. And goes to 0 watts. Right, let's see if we can capture the battle that will be going on. There's Lord on the way past. There it is, Blackham. 19.7. Hopefully I haven't missed that as well. It looks as if Blackham's ahead of Kalik. He has made that push. Yes, he is. So let's catch Blackham crossing the finish line. He has pulled ahead of Davis, Empson and Kalik. Let's see out of the three of them now which one's going. Empson's going early. Davis is going as well. Kalik's not responded. It's going to be Empson, I think, then Davis, then Kalik. So Kalik did very well to hold on with those fast-paced riders throughout the race. Looks as if Charles did win, followed by Dames, and then Stoneham is my guess at this stage. And I'll have a quick look at the remaining riders on field before I have to end this transmission. Go back to me sitting on the start line. There's Morton at 15.9, but there will be other riders further up in the field. Cullen is now at 16 kilometres, so not that far ahead of Morton, but still maintaining the gap. Johnson I haven't seen for quite some time. Civita, Ketley in this group at 9. We'll stay with them, in fact. Now Ketley's got a great sprint on him, but Civita can be quite strong as well with the sprint, so got 400 or 500 metres left for these guys. And he's going to push early. Ketley's ahead, but only nominally. 7.3 watts per kilo though. He's beginning to look at it. He's pulling ahead of Civita. Civita's not responding. Ketley's going for it regardless. Is that O'Brien? Is he going to get past O'Brien? O'Brien looks as if he's ahead, and he crosses the line to 1 second, I think, ahead of Ketley. That's what the sprint was about. Civita is just coming up across the finish line now. Let's see, just a quick roundup of the remaining riders on course. Nixon, Tamsin, Littlewood, quite sure the status. Telford, I haven't spotted Telford now. Is he ahead or behind Cullen? Now he is behind, and there's Jones. Yes, so Cullen has pulled away from these riders. And Stoneham, Marcus, doesn't look as if he's having a one of his best rides today, but that's not been watching in close detail, so it's a little bit hard to tell. But he is now at 19.6 kilometers and just about to cross the finish line. A couple of bends, and it should come into view for him. And when he crosses the finish line, let's just see who is behind. Our left hand bend ahead now. 29 minutes. This is one of the shortest, if not the shortest race on the Winter League calendar that we ride. Stoneman's always got a great finish on him, 910 watts per kilo I saw there. And he crosses the finish line. Let's have a quick look, see who's coming up behind him. I did see Jones, but there we are. No. Jones and Nixon together. Which of these two is going to... Jones has done very well here, stayed ahead of Nixon, who's normally a very strong rider in Cat C. So it is Jones first. No, Nixon just gets there first. And then Telford crosses the line 8 seconds further back. And as he crosses the line, we will leave the coverage for tonight. So thank you all for watching. Next race is on Monday evening, which will be one of the GGCC events. Thank you all. See you then.